Alright, so what if we had battle droids that were not only powerful and unstoppable fighting machines, but also incredibly sexy? This is Nikke, Goddess of Victory, and it is absolutely ridiculous. If it wasn't already obvious, it is a new gacha game from the Korean developer Siftab. The main character is
Commander.
Commander?
Commander. Commander.
Commander.
Vous êtes commander?
The commander has all the personality of a witty ironing board. Wait a second, isn't that me? Saddle up boys, it's time to self-insert once again. Your job is to lead Nikkes to battle. Naturally, they're all hot girls with great personalities. What are we fighting? Sexual tension and mechanical enemies that have wiped out all the humanity on Earth's surface, but mostly sexual tensions. During skirmishes, we lead our team of 5 from behind safe cover. This means that we can watch the backsides of the Nikkes all the damn time, and there's an option to make the UI transparent for visual reasons. Excellent. The game seems to be inspired by this scene from High School of the Dead. It's almost as if the lead artist took a look at Minecraft, thought to himself that's what people want, and decided to imitate the design while also trying to one-up it. The result? Every single corner on these bodies is turned into a curve. Dynamics aside, some of the Nikkes have pretty cool designs. Some of my favorite ones are the weakest of them, the so-called mass-produced Nikkes. Unfortunately, you can't spell mass without S, so that's how strong they are when compared to the fancy models. So, like it or not, you'll have to resort to sexy tactics to succeed in battle. There are very few male characters in the game. In fact, I can only name 2 besides the protagonist.
What's that light up ahead?
One of them is the CEO of the Nikke manufacturing company, and he's a walking disco ball.
Voila! Exactement! I am the CEO of Tetraline, the greatest showman in the entire arc. Mustang! Allez! Repeat after me. Entertainment! Entertainment!
Nice to meet you all.
The other is this guy.
I'm Anderson, Deputy Chief of the Central Government Command.
Just look at these rough scarred fists, square shoulders, the I only trim twice a day beard, and of course the commanding voice of an angel.
You can relax. That is all.
Stupid sexy Anders!
You'll be the commander, newbie.
The gameplay is actually kind of fun. You get to shoot at the raptures using one of the 5 types of weapons ranging from shotguns to snipers. You can play it one-handed too, or even have it autoplay whilst you concentrate on other things. The boss stages have some extra mechanics such as weak points that need to be hit, so the core gameplay can be intriguing enough for a mobile game. Each Nikke has 2 automatically activated abilities and 1 burst skill that comes with a sleek animation, and it's always a joy to discover this on a new Nikke. The main campaign is divided into chapters, and each chapter takes place on a map like this. It has a few collectibles to find and a dozen or so battles that need to be won in order to proceed. Most of the game actually happens around this specific number. The squad power, which, as the name says, is the total combined power of your squad.
It's over 9,000!
Each enemy has a counter power number, and if you fall short of it even by 1, your effective damage and armor is immediately reduced. This is a major debuff, which means that in general you need to balance your team around this singular number. Level up your Nikkes, build up your outpost, or take the girls on dates. Every little bit helps. As a very number-oriented person myself, I actually thoroughly enjoyed this process. Each time I'd run into a wall with a campaign power creep, I'd have quite a few options to drag out a tiny bit more power from my team of Nikkes. So if you're someone who likes this kind of number crunching and power gaming, it might tickle your fancy as well. There are weapon type matchups and even elemental matchups that play a role as well, but in all honesty, in most cases, bigger number better. The only reason I even booted up this game was to make fun of the ridiculous jiggle physics. But to my surprise, I found some parts of Nikke to be much better than expected.
Do you need some therapy?
Shut up and take my money!
If you're like me and unfortunate enough to remember the first anime dubs that came to the West, you might still be skeptical of English voice acting.
He's gone over that cliff!
It has genuinely come a long way since those times, and it shows. In general, the writing is not great, not terrible, but almost all the voice actors did an excellent job.
What is that sound? It's deafening! Reppy! Anise! What is that?
It's an avalanche!
Everybody get into the bunker! Move!
What the hell are you doing?
It wasn't on purpose.
Found them.
Who are you?
I was going to have some fun with you before I killed you. Today's my lucky day.
And on the other side of audio, soundtrack is an absolute banger. Listen to this boss battle. I'm not gonna lie, the first time I attempted this, I wanted to fight the damn train myself. There are great chill tracks, great catchy tracks, and as already mentioned, some of the battle music might be a contender for soundtrack of the year. The main story is set some time after an all-out alien invasion forced humanity to retreat underground. Not many of us aspire to be lifelong basement dwellers though, so a resistance was formed to regain Earth's surface. Fighting fire with fire is always great, so Nikkes were produced, mechanical androids with human brains inside of them. Many questions are still left unanswered. Why the aliens invaded in the first place? What are the motivations of the government? Why Anderson is so good looking, and why the hell is the Nikke production material called Cadesium? I love a good mystery plot, and so far Nikke has delivered well enough on that front. As a gacha game, it is inevitable that there will be some Uwu Commander I love you parts. But it also asks interesting questions like,
What do we look like to you?
and doesn't shy away from darker world-building elements such as commanders being executed by their own Nikkes when disagreements happen. I joked about personalities earlier, but some of the character stories are actually pretty good. This Nikke's name is N102 or N, and her memories are erased every morning for the sake of scientific research.
Wow, a butterfly! Wait, what's a butterfly?
After all, humanity must advance Nikke technology at any cost necessary in their strive for survival. This also means that pretty much every time she's fighting, it will be like the very first battle for her. This is the face she makes during combat. On the other hand, most if not all Nikkes are built on a stereotype. Here's the
I'm thinking of a
rockstar,
new beat. Wanna hear it?
the drunken samurai,
Follow the flow of the breeze, the cloud, and thy heart.
the gamer,
This gameplay is enough to put me to sleep.
the overworked one, this fetish,
Just give in to it and free yourself.
and Sherlock Holmes.
Looks like we've got ourselves a mystery.
Nikke's bodies are modeled after what humans consider to be the ideal form.
Bonus points for being rather blunt about the nature of the game, and even more bonus points for daring to go all out with it. This character's story takes you to a hotel and, well, they do the adult stuff. Usually these types of games draw the line at blushing at the protagonist, or maybe hand-holding if they are bold. During overworld exploration, you can find short stories in form of notes and audio logs. There's a diary of a girl who was inspired to become a Nikke, anti-Nikke posters, and a call log from a father whose daughter became the cannon fodder variety of mass-produced Nikkes. There are also forum posts of first alien sightings, lottery tickets into Ark, commander recruitment pamphlets, and survival guides that ultimately tell you to get started on a good news.
First time?
Ultimately, it is great, if a bit lazy storytelling, and makes the world feel much more alive.
Welcome to El Marina! We have a star!
There's a PvP arena. That about sums up this section. PvP avatars of two teams auto-battle each other. The only thing that matters is your squad power and whether you have any bugged out broken characters with heals so powerful that they could cure that murky emptiness in your heart. Speaking of bugs, there are so many that on release the character tier list, wrong one. The character tier list was based on how well they could abuse the bugs. But it's getting better, and apart from a few crashes, there hasn't been anything majorly broken for me. You can fight the same opponent 3 times in a row and be done with your daily free battles. Once you're done, you can check out the arena shop for some exclusive disappointment. Nikke's homepage describes it as dynamic anime shooter action and intense shooting combat with one-handed control. While I can't argue against either of those beautiful game genres, at its heart, Nikke is still a gacha game. Now, this doesn't need to mean the worst of the worst, but if you know anything about gachas, you might have warning bells ringing in your head. You will need to take out a mortgage to afford all this real estate after all. Worry not, this game has all the limited time offers, power walls and FOMO tactics so that you can feel right at home. While the monetization is not as bad as some other mobile games that have come out in 2022, it will still entice you to spend small amounts quite frequently. The best value package that you can buy requires you to pay the rest with your time by asking you to log in daily. There's also a weird nasty tactic with the premium currency gems. You can earn them as a free-to-play player, and that's a big but, there are free gems and paid charge gems. As of now, it seems like the latter only lets you do a one-time recruitment and they're otherwise identical, but it's terrible nevertheless. And no, not every cash shop package has the fancy gems either. Some of them offer only the peasant gems. Seems like a needlessly greedy tactic in an already expensive gacha game, and it definitely left a sour taste in my poor mouth. After a month of playing Nikke, I found myself progressing less and less. I'm now in chapter 14, and while I could sometimes clear multiple chapters in earlier days, I now find my progress considerably slower. This was of course expected, but it certainly makes me less enthusiastic about improving the squad if I'm time-gated or worse, pay-gated. It's not an insurmountable wall to surpass yet, and there are some side activities such as dailies, events, and the Nikke dating simulator but it's still worth noting that there is only so much story you can realistically get out of Nikke, at least this early on. All in all, Nikke is a gacha game and the big spenders rule the world. I had my fun in the initial stages of the game and probably will continue checking in casually for a bit longer. The game is free to play in both Android and iOS and can also be successfully emulated, so go check it out if any of what I just explained interests you. I also have high hopes for Sihtap's next game, Stellar Blade. If the developers can take the good parts of Nikke and employ them well in a single player game, I think it will be a great game.
Wait.
But hey, until then, when things get rough, there's always Chief Anderson.
I'm here to help.
I'm a problem child.